Breaking news, roads in Cary back open after gunfire in a parking lot near Cary High School. The teenager injured, the guns recovered at the scene, and the 17-year-old suspect police have in custody. And McDonald's faces its first lawsuit over an E. coli outbreak linked to sliced onions. Which other restaurants announced today they're pulling onions off their menu?
If you like the warmth or the cooler crisp air, this weekend has some of both. All time out a cold front so you can start making your outdoor plans.
We are staying on top of breaking news in Cary. A 17-year-old in custody, a 15-year-old with a gunshot wound. Thanks for joining us here at 7 o'clock. I'm Ashley Rowe.
And I'm Dan Haggerty. The investigation has been going all evening. Sky 5 over what was let's just say it, a pretty chaotic scene earlier. All of this happening right on the street between Carytown Boulevard and Walnut Street.
And this appears to have started because of a fight. Cell phone video capturing those moments. This put 3 schools on lockdown, many parents on edge. The WRAL team has been on this all day, and we are staying on it tonight.
We have Willie Danley and Aaron Thomas. They're live in Cary for you. We're going to start with Aaron Thomas. So, Aaron, we're looking at that video, and it's startling because these are young people, just kids. You were at Cary High School today talking to some of the parents there. This was one of the schools on lockdown earlier.
Yeah, that's correct, Dan. I want to point out that this is a school that actually should be lit up at this point with students and the families attending tonight's JV football game. But of course, it was canceled because of all of the chaos that happened not too far from here. In fact, we want to replay and show you some of that video leading up to the moments of that shooting. Of course, we could hear about 7 gunshots that rang out and the chaos that follows afterwards. In that video, you can obviously see several teenagers that are running around. There's a lot of screaming and several fights that broke out. Even though this was not on school grounds, it was definitely close enough. I spoke with a parent who mentioned seeing some suspicious activity nearby while she was waiting in a parking lot minutes before dismissal time.
They didn't look like the regular students, so I kept watching them, and they'd walk over this way and watch down here, and then they went back over there. That's all I know.
Yeah, Miss Norma Reeves also says that her son happened to hear some of those gunshots while he was inside the school. We also captured some video showing the influx of students that were coming out of Cary High School once they got the clearance from the school district. This, of course, being nearly 2 hours later from their regular dismissal time. Adams Elementary as well as East Cary Middle School were also impacted. We're told by Cary Police that there will be extra security present here at Cary High tomorrow. Aaron Thomas, WRAL News, live in Cary.
Got it. Okay, Aaron, thank you.
Let's send it now to WRAL's Willie Danley at the plaza off Carytown Boulevard. Willie, you got some more information on why so much of the area was shut down for so long.
Yes, I did, Ashley. We spoke to the Cary police chief, and this was, as you could see, a very hectic situation. Take a look at this video captured from Sky 5. This was the scene of where that 15-year-old was shot today by a 17-year-old. We're being told by Cary police that this all started with a fight with a large crowd of people. When police officers arrived to that fight, everyone dispersed. Take a listen to this. This is from the Cary police chief about why the scene was so expansive.
We don't know who's involved and who's not involved, and when people start running, then we have to secure the areas that are around them. We took a couple of people of interest into custody in a couple of different areas, and so we also have to secure those areas and search around those areas as well.
I spoke to several business owners in this area. One man told me that he just heard a lot of running outside of his store. By the time he was able to get to the front doors, police officers flooded the parking lot and told him to get back inside his door, lock the doors, and do not let anyone in. So as you can imagine, for a lot of business owners in this area, it was pretty scary. We're going to remain on top of this story and keep you updated with anything else that we hear. In Cary, Willie Danley, WRAL News.
Willie, thank you. You know, a lot of friends and family of mine in the Cary area sent me a text as soon as they got the push alert from WRAL on their phone. Many of you probably got it today as well, right as we could confirm that a school was on lockdown. You can download the WRAL News app and be the first to know about breaking news like this.
A second round of relief funding for Helene victims is on its way to the governor's desk. Governor Cooper wanted nearly $4 billion from lawmakers. The one passed today is worth a little more than $600 million. Republican lawmakers say they'll pass more relief bills in the future. WRAL Capitol Bureau Chief Laura Leslie reports some lawmakers say that needs to happen quickly.
Senator Julie Mayfield represents hard-hit Buncombe County. She said the $604 million relief package falls far short of what's needed.
Our workers and our businesses need a lifeboat, not the life ring that this bill provides.
Nearly half the funds are loans that would need to be paid back at some point. $100 million in loans to fix water and sewer systems, $100 million in loans to local governments to help with cash flow, $50 million in loans for small businesses. Mayfield said business owners can't absorb more loans.
They need grants. We have done this before, allocating $270 million for farmers after Hurricane Florence. We need to do this now for the businesses of Western North Carolina.
Senator Ralph Hayes represents Mitchell County. He agreed more relief is needed, but he said the state doesn't have the money to cover all the damages.
We're going to have to take our time to build a plan to respond to this, and we are going to have to bring in a federal partnership.
For now, Hayes said it's a good second step.
What we're doing in the first bill and this bill is more than we've done before for other storms, and we are meeting the current needs on the ground.
The package also includes $50 million to repair damaged schools, $50 million to help state and local governments cover unmet needs, and $30 million for tuition help and emergency grants to community college and university students. Laura Leslie, WRAL News, Raleigh.
So the governor is expected to sign the bill. Republican legislative leaders say they are still reviewing the proposal and may include part of it in later relief bills.
A lot going on. Elections, recalled onions, dump truck fires. It has been a busy day in the news. Let's get you caught up with the 5 things you should know right now. So did you see all the smoke over Jones Sausage Road this afternoon? It was a dump truck that caught fire around 4 o'clock. Raleigh police confirmed that this all happened near the Generosity Court intersection. We asked whether anyone was hurt and what started this fire, but we're still waiting to hear back the details. More fast food joining now. Joints are throwing out their fresh onions after the E. coli outbreak at McDonald's. Nearly 50 cases in that outbreak so far. 1 person died. All of the cases are out of states out to the west. None of them are in North Carolina. Meantime, a man in Colorado sued McDonald's because of this. The company has not commented on that lawsuit. Tomorrow, Fayetteville is going to break ground on the new Crown Event Center. It's a project that they have been excited about. This is the original arena. It opened in 1967. The new one will serve as a replacement. Here you see some renderings. The Crown Complex facilities include the Coliseum, Expo Center, and Ballroom. They will stay open. The parking lot will close, though, while the work is underway. The ceremony is at 2 p.m. Early voting turnout has been huge in North Carolina. More than 2 million voters in our state have cast their ballots so far. That's about 25% of registered voters statewide. Early voting runs through Saturday, November 2nd. And we told you we stay on top of any little details when it comes to elections and voting. People are pretty worked up about that yellow sign right there. It's being placed outside of polling sites. In Spanish, it says, warning, if you are not a citizen of the United States of America, you cannot vote in elections. It is illegal. The group behind it says it's meant to inform people. Other groups say it's meant to scare people and could discourage Spanish speakers from casting their ballots at all. WRAL contacted the State Board of Elections about this. We haven't heard back from them. To be fair, regardless of how you feel about the sign, it's right. Only citizens can vote in North Carolina. And it just so happens there's a constitutional amendment on the ballot this year tackling that very topic. It's the subject of tomorrow's in-depth segment, and we hope you'll tune in for it.
Yeah, it's important. And let's stay on the subject of elections, shall we? And let's stay down the ballot. Up next, part 3 of our series on the race for Raleigh mayor. What the candidates say about revitalizing the downtown area. That's in about 2 minutes. Kat?
If you're a fan of summer, you've got a nice day this weekend. If you're a fan of crisp fall weather, you also have a nice day. I'll let you know which will be best to get outside based on your preferences coming up.
Welcome back. This is Brian Schrader in the WRAL Live Center with breaking news. We've learned one person has died in a crash in Holly Springs. We first brought this to you on our news at 4 o'clock. This is on the 55 bypass right around Green Oaks Parkway. Apparently the next of kin has been notified. We don't have the information about the person who died here, but you saw that this crash involved a motorcycle. We're still seeing big delays because that section of the 55 bypass is still closed from Green Oaks Parkway on down toward Main Street there in Fuquay-Varina. This is the eastbound side heading away from Holly Springs toward Fuquay. Those delays begin all the way back around 540, and a lot of people are using Main Street as an alternate route, seeing some huge delays this evening in Holly Springs.
Give it 10 or 15 years and downtown Raleigh could look very, very different. The city is looking at a multi-billion-dollar plan to update the Dix Park corridor, a new high-rise in Glenwood South, an updated Red Hat Amphitheater, a new convention center, a fresh look for Fayetteville Street, and more. It's all part of a larger effort to revitalize downtown. And you know, everyone from hot dog vendors to the president of the Downtown Raleigh Alliance agrees this needs to happen.
There's no doubt that you got to create more of a destination feel. And so we're trying to do that as well.
When you come downtown Raleigh, there's either a restaurant or a lawyer's office. Nothing's wrong with either, but, you know, to bring more foot traffic, then more small businesses to come and open up as well.
All of these big ideas sound great, but it will take city leadership to shepherd that change. And that's where you come in. People in Raleigh will vote for one of these 5 candidates to lead the city. I don't have to tell you, Election Day is less than 2 weeks away. We are almost in the home stretch. We spent the last 2 days talking about housing and public safety. Tonight, let's walk through what the candidates for Raleigh want to do to revitalize downtown. First up, mortgage broker Paul Fitz. He has an idea that really no one else is proposing. He wants to put a casino in Raleigh.
I would like to see the casino entertainment side take away shows from DPAC and leave them here in Raleigh. I think it would be better for us and we wouldn't have to drive to Durham to spend our money on shows.
Fitz thinks the city could use the revenue from a casino to pay for public safety. Meantime, community activist Eugene Myrick and NC State Assistant Professor Terrence Ruth believe that really Raleigh can do a better job of celebrating its rich history. Both of them referenced Ella Baker, an influential part of the civil rights movement and a guide for Martin Luther King Jr. Both Myrick and Ruth say the city needs to tell her story in a way that'll bring in visitors.
Every time I go to Atlanta, I always manage to end up at Ebenezer Church or Dr. King's home. Like, that entire block has been preserved. So it's not like you're going to see Dr. King's house and it's next to a 20-story building. So things like that bring culture, they bring tourism. So we're not utilizing what we have.
We're not doing a good enough job of telling the story of Raleigh through the people that have built it up.
Character is a term that links you to some story. And right now, we're sitting on stories that could really bring amazing character. How do we make a place that really centers the stories that this city sort of rests on? And right now, I think we are leaving some of those stories untouched.
Former State Treasurer Janet Cowell thinks her contacts and her connections give her an edge for downtown development. She told me something that actually caught my attention. She claims there are 20 blocks in downtown Raleigh without any retail. Cowell says her network of politicians, nonprofit leaders, business leaders can help figure out what to do with that space and other parts of downtown.
So recently I was having lunch with the head of the Museum of Natural Sciences downtown, which I'm sure many of us have gone to, and she was stating, you know, it's just really rare that anybody gets all the heads of those museums together to talk about how they can work off of each other and maybe encourage people to, you know, make a half day of it. You go to Marbles with your kid in the morning, and then maybe you go over to the Science Museum and you stop at the coffee shop or the lunch spot. So one thing is just the power of a mayor to convene and have that allow people to think through, well, what are the ways, you know, churches, a lot of people go to church downtown. How are we encouraging people to stay or feel safe, and brunch, and, you know, how are we working together on those kind of things?
James Shaughnessy, a student at William Peace University, tries to think about this through the lens of young people. And he says revitalization is tied to safety.
I don't go downtown with my fiance because it just doesn't feel safe to us. We'll go maybe once or twice a year, but it doesn't feel as safe as it used to when I was growing up. And so we have to, even recently, like we have purchased new private security to keep us safe, which shows a lot bigger problem within the city than it should. And opening it up to make it safer and more enticing to young people is a very big step in revitalizing that downtown space.
What you've heard from the candidates tonight and this week are just snippets from my full interviews with them. Again, you can watch those full interviews on WRAL.com and the WRAL YouTube page. We discuss at length the biggest issues facing Raleigh right now. Hopefully, this helps you understand whose ideas fit your values, whose positions align with the Raleigh you want to see. That's what we do here at 7 o'clock. We cut through the noise and the talking points to think clearly. That's especially important when it comes time to mark your ballot.
Thank you, Ashley. It's so important to spend time, too, and really focus on these issues. Meteorologist Kat Campbell joining us now as we take a look at what appears to be a beautiful weekend, but that's quite a drop in temps.
We got a big drop in temperatures. I mean, we're actually going to be near record. Saturday's record high is 85 degrees. We're at 83 for the high Saturday, and then we drop down to 66 Sunday. If you like summer, get outside Saturday. If you're a fall lover like myself, Sunday is going to be your day. Both days will be partly cloudy, and all around it looks like it's going to be a really nice weekend. We'll be at 57 already by 8 a.m. Saturday morning, 79 at noon. If you want to do dinner outside at the fair, temperatures are still going to be in the 70s at that time, and only dipping into the 60s, low 60s even at midnight. So maybe you'll want a light extra layer, but you're not going to need any kind of thick coat as you head into Saturday night. Let's take a look at futurecasts, though, because Saturday we do have a small chance for rain. It's not going to be a high impact rain for us, so don't cancel your outdoor plans. And if you're at the fair, of course, if you run into a sprinkle, you can dip inside some of the exhibits. Noon, we've got the front nearby. It should be after the front that we could see a couple of these sprinkles pass through between about 5 p.m. and 9 p.m. Here's the thing, though, since the rain chances would come a little bit after the front, we're already going to see the transport of the cooler, drier air into the area, and there's just not going to be a lot of moisture to work with here along this front, even though it is a fairly strong front in terms of dipping our temperatures. But just don't be caught off guard if you see a quick passing shower Saturday evening. That's it for rain chances. We had a cold front move through this morning. That's the one that's offshore now. Here comes the next one off to the north and west, and we'll be watching for that. 65 degrees out there right now. It's a beautiful evening in downtown Raleigh. If you're headed out for a dog walk, it'll be about 56 by 10 p.m. And then tomorrow morning, it gets pretty chilly again. We're down to 44 by 7 a.m. Make sure that you are bundled up. You're going to want to dress in layers tomorrow, but definitely grab your jacket. 37 in Roxborough tonight, 44 Raleigh, 42 in Durham, 43 in Southern Pines, and 45 degrees in Fayetteville. It's clear and it's cool, but we'll warm up tomorrow. By noon, we're at 70 degrees. Mid-70s for the high tomorrow. It's going to be a great Friday out at the North Carolina State Fair. As we look ahead to the weekend, temperatures are going to be dropping. 50 is the low Sunday morning, so it's not much of a drop necessarily for the lows. It's going to be those afternoon highs where you'll really notice it. Halloween's on the 7-day forecast. We're going to warm up by the middle and end of next week, near 80 for next Thursday. Trick-or-treating temperatures start out in the 70s, only drop into the 60s. And of course, Sunday, we have Music for the Mountains happening. The weather looks great for that event at Red Hat starting at 6 o'clock.
All right, Kat, thank you.
And before we head to break here, we're getting you ready for your weekend. Let's line up 3 of the many things going on in our area. Here's what's happening out and about.
All right, at 7:26, our one last thing is breaking news in the Live Center with Brian Schrader. Brian?
In the past 5 minutes, we've heard from Wake County deputies. They're looking for someone who jumped after a traffic stop that led to a chase and eventually a crash. This happened around 4:30 this afternoon. Started on 540 around the I-40 interchange in Garner. Our photographer says that you see here all of the airbags were deployed in that car where this chase ended. Police say that the driver got out and ran, and they are looking for that person. Wake County deputies say if you have any information, let them know.
Oh, boy.
We will have the latest on that tonight at 10 o'clock on Fox 50 and at 11 on WRAL.
Thanks for being with us.
Have a great night.
Keep watching WRAL News over the air Channel 34 and Spectrum Channel 1257.